Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monsters Den. Today, we are covering the second deluxe volume of Berserk. I am Hazar, and with me today, once again, is the one and only Kai the Crusader.
Hello.
Okay, so what we did previously when we covered Deluxe Volume 1 is we cut off in right before the beginning of the Golden Age arc, since we only talked about the Black Swordsman arc. The only thing we really covered in the last one was talking about cis a little bit. So now what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna cover what that part of the Golden Age arc that links up with the rest of Volume 4, 5, and 6. And we're probably only gonna cover half of Volume 6 and save the Casca arc for the next video or the next podcast.
Yeah, because that's an arc where it's like, well, Volume 6, it ends with the beginning of the Casca arc. And those of you who know about the Casca arc, that is a very, very important arc. So we're just going to leave that out for the next podcast.
All right. So just retreading some stuff from the Golden Age arc, the very first part of it is you found Guts's newborn form under. I'm assuming what I assume is her hanged mother.
Yes, that is his biological mother that's dead.
Okay.
So, and that's something that you'll see with Guts, and that's one of the reasons why he's also nicknamed the Struggler, is that technically he should not be alive. He should have died with his biological mother, but for whatever reason, she gave birth to him while being hung, and a puddle of mud comforted his falls that kept him alive. And then
Mm-hmm.
he should have died there, but then the mercenary band came and picked him up. And so, for whatever reason, he is one of those guys where he is constantly weaving in and out of like fate, I guess, because technically he shouldn't even be alive,
Yeah,
but for some reason he is.
and the only reason why he even got on Gambino's side was because Sis was, I don't know, maybe she would have done it with it or without a miscarriage. Who really knows what it is? But she was inclined enough to not only be in that carriage, but to also pick up Guts and raise him for the next 3 years. I think it's when she died.
Yes. It was 3 years, then she died of the plague.
Yes, and that's what we covered in the last one. So in here,
And here is the rest of his childhood, more or less, leading
yeah,
up to the Band of the Hawk. And like the early years of the Band of the Hawk.
yes, yes, yes. So let's start at the very beginning of that, and right away,
A
Gambino is a
large black
character.
man.
I What's up?
Very beginning of Volume 4, a large black man.
We're not quite there yet. We're still talking about Volume 3 because
Oh,
there's one
all
thing I
right.
want to discuss, and that's Gambino's views on disposability. And you see this a lot where this is kind of the foundation of what Gus is going to be raised on, which Gambino is definitely life is tough, whatever, tough it out, idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And in the same way, he kind of views his comrades and the people he cares about as disposable. And maybe to a
Yep.
certain extent, maybe he does see himself as disposable. I'm not really sure. But you see it with Sis immediately, where he like kinda doesn't give a shit, but in some ways he does. Like there's kind of
Yeah.
some internalized what would you call it? Like internalized masculinity or toxic masculinity within him.
I guess. I was just thinking that he was just kind of a selfish asshole. Not even like the whole toxic masculinity. Just
Well,
because that's something where like anyone could be that.
I guess in
His
that
whole
regard
thing
where like
is he kind of just wants money. He just wants fame and fortune, and that's kind of it. He doesn't really give a shit about anyone else.
but you see those
He does,
glimpses in Gambino though, where he does care
yeah,
about Guts and he does care about Sis. And
yeah.
most
The
often than not, it's
CC
when
or
he's
whatever her
drunk.
name was. Yeah, when he's drunk is oftentimes when it shows. Or when he's a little guilty, like when he's training Guts and he cuts Guts across the nose, and all the other mercenary guys like, "Yo, bro, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Ah, yeah, I feel kind of bad about that. I probably shouldn't have done that."
Yeah, and that's kind of it's those glimpses that make me theorize that I do think there's a there's something to be said about that toxic masculinity of not being allowed to show your emotions or your more sentimental ones. And I'm sure in
Uh,
his circumstances, he might have grown up around where that isn't okay or that shouldn't be okay.
Possibly, I think he's just a dick. Honestly, I
Well,
don't
that's
think
that.
he's too much of a deep or too deep of a character. I mean, it does show that he does care, but anytime someone says something, he like shoots them down. And he, again, going back with the whole Guts thing, the only reason why he helped Guts and gave Guts medicine is because his comrades made him feel guilty about it. He was like, ah, fuck, they're right. I did something wrong. If it wasn't up to his comrades, he'd be like, ah, I don't give a fuck. Fuck the kid. Which, again, like he sold Guts out for a night, which I know that's kind of skipping ahead to volume 4, but like, yeah, like this is a dude who only sees Guts as a tool. And if anything, wants to get rid of Guts as soon as he can, which is why he keeps throwing a 6-year-old boy on the front lines, expecting him to die.
Do you think if he wasn't drunk, he would have done the same thing?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think it because you see it, and this is kind of jumping ahead again, even further, where after he lost his leg, where even after he lost his leg, he's still abusive towards
Yes.
Guts. Like he does not give a fuck about this kid. Like he would, if anything, I think he becomes even more abusive towards Guts after he lost his leg, because now he's directly, for whatever reason, views Guts as the reason of, oh, you're the reason I lost my leg. If we didn't pick you up, I want to have to babysit your ass. And because I'm babysitting your ass all the time, I'm the one getting hurt. Fuck this kid. I just want him dead.
So, do you think Guts? No, sorry. Do you think Gambino cares up for Guts?
No,
You don't think
I don't
so?
think he cared
Hmm.
about Guts at all. The only person that I think he ever really cared about was, I think her name was Cece, or however you
Sis,
pronounce her name,
you're
or Sis. Is like, I think she was legitimately the only person he somewhat cared about, and even then, it wasn't to an extent to be like, oh shit, my wife's sick. I should probably stay behind the lines and actually take care of her and see her in her final moments. Instead, it's like, nah, fuck that. I want loot. I'm gonna go off and fight.
Hmm. I think there's something in Gambino that he does care for Guts, but he doesn't know how to. And maybe this is maybe me looking too much into the character of Gambino, but it's just those moments where I don't know, when you raise someone for so long from like kid to I guess preteen.
Hmm.
I'm sure Gambino cares for Guts, but his I think Gambino's whole worldview gets in the way, where he sees disposability as an absolute kind of philosophy of the world.
Hmm. Where it's, we're all gonna die. Who cares? Just go after what you want. Very kind of hedonistic in a sense.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way of putting it. So I don't know. I actually do think Gambino cares about Guts, but he doesn't know how to, and he never had the chance because, well, we all know what's gonna come up.
Hmm. No, I just straight up don't think Gambino ever cared about him, and it wasn't until he was drunk that you finally see his real emotions of, I'm just gonna kill this fucking kid.
Hmm.
Because he does blame Guts for like the loss of his leg, for the loss of his wife, for the misfortune that the mercenary band had struggled with. Because the in the early chapters when they picked up Guts as a baby, they even mentioned like, oh, it's a bad omen to pick up a dead or pick up a kid from a battlefield or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I
they
think
already associate Guts with bad luck.
I think also alcohol makes people a little more irrational.
Mhm.
And again, this is his only time where he gets to talk about his feelings is when he's drunk. So I don't know. I'm not trying to like I give sympathy points to Cambino, but I don't want to cut him off quickly and saying he's a simple character. Is what I'm trying to get at.
No, I don't think he's simple either. I think it's just he- he's not as complex as some of the other characters. I think he is a very Darwinistic type guy where it's like the world's tough, you got to be tough to survive, and if you're weak, fuck you. That's just, it is what it is. Who cares?
But to me,
And then
adding
he
that
also
layer of him
wants,
caring with the alcoholism kind of adds a bit more to me. But I don't know. It really depends, I guess, if you do see that layer or not, and if that layer even exists. But that's kind of getting a little more into subjectivity at that point.
mhm. I will also like to add, he did sell guts out for a night just
Yeah,
for money. Like a loving father, no matter how abusive they may be, I don't think would ever actually sell out their son or daughter for that matter for any of their kids. He was like, yeah, fuck it, couple of extra coins, why not? I'll sell them out.
he's a pretty shitty father. There's definitely no denying that.
Hmm.
And even at that, he was more of a teacher or what do you call it? Like, well, I don't want to call him master, but Guts was his apprentice.
Yeah, he did teach Guts how to fight with a sword
Yeah,
for
which I
sure.
do have
Which
another
I
point here, which is Guts grew up around violence and death since the
Mhm.
very beginning.
I also like to point out that he did teach Guts how to fight with a sword that was much bigger than what Guts should have been using. And the other mercenaries point that out as
Yeah,
well. Where it's like, hey, Gambino, shouldn't you use or teach him how to use a sword that's like actual size for him so he knows proper swordsman technique? And Gambino's like, ah, fuck it. I don't give a shit.
Guts was born
Almost like
into
he
the
was
strength
purposely
build.
trying to. I think it wasn't necessarily he's trying to get Guts to be strong so much so as, oh no, I accidentally hit him too hard, or oh no, he fell on the sword and died. That sucks. All right, let's leave.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
definitely a thing
don't
where like
trust Gambino. I don't think
Gambino
he's a
didn't
good
care.
person. Yeah, he did not care.
Um, but
But
yeah,
you do get that one really just it's sweet but also heartbreaking shot where it's Guts laying in bed holding his sword. And like, oh, because that's the only comfort he finds in the world.
yeah, it's pretty
Like that's
sad
his teddy bear. Yeah.
because it's Guts grew up around violence and death since he was like, I guess he can form memories
Born.
really because
Yeah.
I'm sure his earliest memory is Sis on the bed
Hmm.
or on the deathbed, I should say. And from
And
there,
remember, his
he
village was burned to the ground when he was being born. So, like, he was literally born into violence.
yeah, which is this does a really good job at
He's
establishing what
he
foundation
was.
Guts is working from obviously coming straight off the Black Swordsman arc.
Mhm.
Uh, I think we should
Be-
address
You
the elephant
see
in the room.
Griffith. I was gonna say, you see Griffith just adopted to the dark. Guts was born in it, molded by it.
And now he's trying to grow out of it. But
Yeah.
let's get into the elephant in the room, which is Guts gets assaulted,
Yep.
and
Donovan, if I remember his name right.
I
I
think
don't
it
know. I
was
just call him.
Donovan. I might be wrong, but I think it was Donovan. Wow, that was I didn't think that scene was gonna drag out more than it did. I've heard about this scene, but it's like
Hmm.
it does a good job emphasizing the helplessness in the situation, even for someone like Guts.
Oh yeah.
And
Like
there's
there's nothing he can do about it. And then like the ending shot is just him laying there, just like mind broken.
and he got pretty upset afterwards. And this is what I find interesting. This is gonna allude to the things that we're gonna be talking about later, but it looks like he quote unquote gets over the assault quickly. Like he's just angry about it more than anything. But as the show continues to go, this assault starts to cast a longer and bigger shadow.
Oh yeah. No, it like infects Guts so much to the point where even in I know we're not there yet, but in later volumes, it still affects him.
Yeah, it's like it's like at the moment he's processing the assault,
Hmm.
but once he starts
Like
seeing other stuff, you start to see like, no, this has
he's
affected
never
him way
fully
more than he
processed it.
initially thought.
Oh yeah, it affected him way more than he ever thought it did. Because he very much will just kind of, especially later on in Band of the Hawk, he just kind of like, it happened. It's whatever. but you still get moments of like he gets night terrors and he has nightmares of this shit and he sees it like it plays out in his head all the time. And he's like, fuck, I thought I got over this shit. I haven't thought about it in years.
Yeah, and like he kills Donovan in like the next scene, which I wasn't expecting.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like
the
right
next
away.
chapter he kills him and he makes it look like it was a ambush or not an ambush, but it was the enemies that did it.
Yeah,
So he got his revenge. But I think the more heartbreaking part is in the next morning when he goes to tell Gambino, and Gambino's just like nonchalant, doesn't care, pretends he doesn't even know.
yeah,
Which shows in Guts' broken mind, where it's like, oh, maybe Gambino didn't know Donovan did that. Maybe Gambino is still a good person. And then you had the night with Gambino when Gambino does confess, like, yeah, no, I sold him out to you. Like,
yeah.
I sold you to him. Like, I don't give a shit about you, kid.
Because it's kind of crazy. He definitely reached a boiling point. Because first of all, he lost his leg, and that completely kind of, I'm sure, made him feel worthless over I think 3 years? Question mark.
Something like that.
Yeah, and
Um,
as you mentioned, he eventually loses his head in more ways than one.
yeah. Well,
And
the when he lost his leg, from him losing his leg to him killing Guts, I know it's 3 years I believe it's 3 years after the Donovan incident. I could be wrong though.
I forgot the order of it, but
Actually, I
yeah,
don't
it's
think it is.
essentially it kind of gets the same point.
Yeah, that whole early section goes by pretty quick. So maybe it wasn't a few years. It may have been the same year. Because from the time he leaves Donovan's party, or Donovan leads Gambino's party and joins up with the Band of the Hawk, that's another 3 years. And
Yes.
then we have another time skip once he joins the time of the joins the Hawk, which is another 3 years.
Yeah. So his childhood is
But
a little. It definitely
yeah,
speeds up a bit.
so at this point he's 12. He's 12 years old when all this shit's going down. When he gets uh
I think he's 9.
assaulted. Is he 9 or 12? I'm
I
pretty
think he's
certain he's
13. I think
12
he's
when he gets.
13 or 12ish in when he first gets introduced to the Band of the Hawks.
No, he was 15 when that happened.
Is that so?
Yeah, he was 15 when he got first introduced to the Band of the Hawks.
Okay. It doesn't help that I keep seeing a 3 years later every single time I see a time skip, and there's no counter for his age.
Yeah. I know they mentioned his name or his age at some point. I just can't remember which chapter it was where they
Yeah.
mentioned it.
But anyways, yeah, Gambino. He essentially Guts has to kill his father figure. And kind of what you said with kind of what we mentioned with Donovan is it's something that he has to put aside and not really have time to process. But this is something
Hmm.
that will affect him as time goes on.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's another memory that like haunts him. And I think the worst part is the other mercenaries just automatically assume, oh, Guts did it out of malice. Despite the
Yeah.
fact that Gambino went into Guts's tent and it was Guts's tent that was on fire, not Gambino's tent, which tells me like, oh, Gambino went into Guts' a tent trying to kill Guts and Guts just did it out of self-defense. But now for whatever reason they're just like, oh, Guts killed him first or
It
attacked him first, I should say.
it really plays into Guts feeling like a taboo, along with everything else that happened before that.
Hmm.
And man, I don't know, it's pretty heartbreaking because you see eventually he like I mean he gets injured I think when he falls off a cliff or something, and he's kind of
Hmm.
made to fend off himself against wolves and barely scrapes it out because he intimidated the wolves just enough.
Yep. I love that scene because it shows like Guts was fully ready to die. He's just like, fuck it, this is where I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna let the wolves kill me. But then his like subconscious kicks in and is just like, nope, kill the wolves. And then he's like, oh, okay. And like that's when he kind of adapting into more of the Darwinistic mentality of survival of the fittest, kill the wolves and I'll survive.
Yeah, I think what gets me sometimes is like how fucked up of a view he has of Gambino because
Hmm. Where he still thinks Gambino's a good guy. He still views him as a father figure, despite everything that Gambino did to him, all the abuse, all the shit that he did, all the things he said to him, he still views Gambino as a father. but it's little tidbits of like kindness that Gambito did, like with the medicine, where he latches onto that and thinks like, oh no, he does still care, even though Gambito doesn't care. He was only doing that just because his men made him feel guilty for it.
Yeah, it's rough in Guts' eyes,
Oh yeah.
but moving on, the next time sequence is him kind of going as a solo mercenary, and
Mhm.
rightfully so, because I'm sure he doesn't want to dip his toes into getting betrayed again. So he kind of does grow a more cynical mindset, kind of
Oh
one
yeah.
reflective of what you already saw in the Black Swordsman arc.
Hmm.
And
For
it,
sure.
this is kind of a
Where
funny thing to me, but like I don't know, there's this fucking preteen just going around slaying dudes like twice his size with better armor. I'm just like, all right, Guts is just built different, and I just gonna have to accept
yeah,
that.
I mean, he's a teenager at this point, but it is one of those things where it's like he's been doing this since he was born. So in a lot of cases, again, at this time he's 15. He's got more battlefield experience than most of the guys on the battlefield,
That's a
even
fair
though he's
thing.
only 15.
But man, his power level is definitely exaggerated, which is something that anime does. I'm not really too
Hmm.
bothered by it. I just do find it funny when I stop it to think about it. Again,
Hmm.
no big deal.
And they do mention that he is very sloppy at this point. Like he's powerful and he's strong and he's intimidating, but he's sloppy because there's a lot of times where he puts himself at risk in order to land a killing blow. Which I mean, that's kind of Guts in a nutshell. He continues to do that. It's a bad habit of his that
Yeah,
you'll see happen throughout the series. But in this one, yeah, he kills. I think his name was Bonzo or something like that. Bonzo's,
yeah, the really
whatever it
big
was.
guy.
Yeah, Bonzuzo or something like that. He kills him, but in the process, Bonzuzo almost takes his head off.
Yep.
And then you also see where, again, the events of that night does rub off, where you had the one soldier try complimenting him and put his arm on his shoulder and be like, hey, dude, you're pretty good. Why don't you join us? And guys are like, don't fucking touch me.
Yep.
Which tends to be something that people who have been assaulted are like, where they don't want to be touched. They don't want to be
Hmm.
around anyone.
That was a really nice touch as well.
Hmm.
Uh, all right. So the next thing I have on here, I wrote the bulletin point of preteen wars. I don't know. To me, they look like preteens, and that's it's really funny. Just seeing like, oh yeah, these are the best of the best that you've ever seen, and it's like a bunch of fucking preteens. They
Teenagers.
call themselves the Band of the Hearts,
Hmm. They
which
do make a point though, like, hey, this group is super young, but they're really good.
yeah. Again, it's one of those things where it's an anime thing. I've already like accepted it, and it's kind of a normalized thing. It's just kind of an amusing thing because I wasn't expecting seeing it also in Berserk.
Mhm.
But
But it
that's
only
that.
sticks around for like a chapter or two.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't matter because it does build up that these guys are strong, and that's what you need to know as an author.
Mhm. And I think a lot of it was also Mira not really having a timeline set yet. Because like Black Swordsman arc, Guts is in his mid 20s, if I remember right. So whatever happened between him and the Band of the Hawk had to happen within the last 20 years of his life.
Yeah.
So he really had to kind of squeeze everything in there as much as he could, which is why the ages kind of start out as weird with them all being like, 14, 15, 13 years old. And you're like, wait a minute, why is a 15-year-old Griffith leading a battlefield? That's weird.
Yeah. Again, it's just kind of something that I'm. It's pretty easy for me to suspend my disbelief. I watched Full
Mhm.
Metal Alchemist, bro. This is nothing to me. I watched
Oh yeah.
Avatar. Same shit.
It's even stranger when you think about it because like when you think of Griffith and Casca's relationship, because obviously Casca was in the Band of the Hawk before Guts was, and uh it's implied that at this point Griffith, or by the time Griffith picks up Casca, he's already been leading the Band of the Hawk for like a year or two. But he picked
Yeah.
up Casca like 2 years before he picked up Guts. So like, wait a minute. So he was 13 leading an army already? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Again, it's just one of those things where like these are like supermen that we're dealing
Yeah.
with here. So it's all
Which
good.
Griffith very much so is. Griffith is very much so like this is the Superman.
So
He is like fate and all the stars are just lining themselves up
yes.
for him.
So before
Everything's
Griffith,
aligned.
do you want to talk about any of the Band of the Hawks that get introduced? Because I don't have much to
Yeah,
say about
Corcus.
them.
Fucking Corcus is a little shit. Ever since the beginning, Corcus was a little
I
shit.
did I did write a note later that saying that um his name was Carcass, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Corcus.
yeah, Carcass is Judas.
You thought Corcus was Judas?
Because if there's anyone more Judas coded, it's this guy. Well, like
Yeah, I guess. Except Corcus wouldn't sell his friends out. That's the only difference.
oh no,
Corcus is like,
he's not Gambino levels of like scummy.
no. Like, he's a scumbag for sure, and he'll fuck with you every chance he gets. But when the times get hard, he is there for his friends. He actually does stand up and try and help them out. He just does it in his weird way. Like, he'll belittle you while he helps you, but he'll still help you.
uh, yeah, I don't know much about him, but he at least to the point that I know, but he definitely has that attitude.
For sure, especially early on. He does get a lot more screen time later on, so
Okay,
I will let you know that, and that's where a lot of my why I kind of like him is because later on when you do see him more, you're like, oh, okay, that's why he is the way he is, and
okay,
like yes, he does legitimately care for his friends. He just has a weird way of showing it.
gotcha. Okay, I don't have much to say about Asuka besides, oh my god, it's a girl, no way, whatever.
Casca, I
There,
like to point out like the fucking her hairstyle early on
it's
and how
really
it
short.
changes. Oh yeah, it's super short at this point. I mean, it's always been short,
This
but
is
it's
the
just
shortest.
funny. Yeah, this is the shortest when you see it because she just straight up looks like a dude.
Yeah. But at this point, I really have nothing to say about Casca. She's more of a slow burn character,
Hmm.
so nothing much to say here. Um,
You also got Pippin, which fun fact about Pippin: Pippin was Kitara Mira modeled Pippin's face off of his own face.
oh really? That's cute.
Yeah,
He does have a nice silhouette compared to the other Band of the Hawks. Kind of makes him stand
for
out.
sure. And he is the big, tough, silent but strong type dude.
Yeah, that's all you need to know about him. And there's some like
Yeah.
some one the one with freckles. I forgot her name. I think it's a she.
Of judo?
Yeah, I think
No,
so.
that's not a chick. That's a dude. That's judo.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So it's judo, Ricket, Pippin, Casca, Corcus, Griffith, Guts. That's your main group right there.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, at this point, their introduction, they're kind of just meant to be, wow, look how strong Guts is, kind of
Mhm.
energy.
Which actually, now that I think about it, Ricket is like the kid of the group, right? He's the 12-year-old. I
Oh,
think
is
that's how
he?
old he is
That's
at this
cute.
point. Yeah, he's 12. And it makes me wonder, like, okay, so when did they pick him up? Because like obviously Costco was I think it was like 12 when they picked him up. How old was Ricket when they grabbed him? Was he like 6?
Fuck it, man. Straight, get straight into the battlefield, baby. Guts did it.
Yep, let's go.
But
And fun thing with Ricket too is if you pay attention to him, um, he is. I'm sure you've kind of already noticed. He's kind of in a sense, the tech guy of the group,
especially
where
next to
he's
the rest of the crew.
where he's the one working on like crossbows and swords and weapons, and like he's the blacksmith. He's the guy who's like tinkering with things, making
Uh,
traps and whatnot.
I didn't quite
Um,
notice that yet.
what what I think is really cool, and if you go back and you see it, there's a scene where he's screwing around with a crossbow. That crossbow that he's screwing with is the same crossbow that Guts uses in the Black Swordsman arc.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an automatic crossbow that he attaches to his wrist. Rick is just screwing around with it. He's like trying to, it is like the early phases of it where he's trying to figure out how to make it work, but hasn't quite figured it out yet.
Interesting. I didn't quite. I
Yeah.
didn't pick up on that.
So it's one of those things where like, wait a minute, if you pay attention, you're like, wait a minute, I know where that's from. I know what's going to happen to that crossbow. Guts is eventually going to get his hands on it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can just get into it. And I disclaimer: I have a lot of Griffith bulleted points in this notepad. This is going to be the first of many.
To be fair, this is when Griffith is really at his like finest when
Yeah.
they're showing everything with him.
So Griffith is kind of introduced as a weirdo, like off the bat.
Yep, he's always been a weirdo. There's something always strange about him.
Yep. Just some nonchalant kind of attitude in the very beginning, and then suddenly he sees Kafka getting beaten, and he locks the fuck in. And for some reason, this is the first time we saw Guts like lose on the battlefield.
Yep.
Just to establish how strong this dude is, even though he just looks like some weird twink.
Oh, I would like to rewind it even further, where after the battle with Buzoso, you see Griffith up top in the walls of the fort watching the battle, and you could tell in his eyes he's got that weird like I want him type eyes. Like like when Griffith locks in, his eyes are like almost staring into your soul. He's got those eyes looking at Guts.
He's the
Like
very
you already
first
know, like,
fish.
oh, something's going on between those two. There's something he wants from Guts.
So it didn't quite click on me for that just yet. It takes a while to see a pattern on what that stare actually means.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my eyes. But if you go back and read it, you can definitely see that I want you thing be more explicit within that stare.
Oh yeah. Or it's not even just the I want you, it's whatever, like it's his lock-in look where it's like it could be him on a battlefield, it could be him looking at someone he wants, it could be him looking at an objective he wants, or looking at someone he wants killed. It's just that weird lock-in stare where he like stares into your soul.
Yeah. And I want to add that he's not the very first morally gray by shonen guy you see in an anime, but he definitely feels like the one that popularized it. He's kind of I would argue maybe the face of it at this point.
Probably. Although a
So
lot of people would just say he's flat out evil. But that's after the Eclipse
let's
events.
let's let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet.
Yeah.
I have more notes on
No.
that.
But as of right now, yes, he is more so morally gray. And he even now he still shows that he has a heart. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't really want to put his men in too much danger. He's trying to keep everyone alive. He's still like picking and choosing his fights. It's not like, oh, I kill people because fuck them. It's more like it's a necessary evil. I want to become king. If I want to become king, people are gonna die in the process. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
I
just
do
have
have
to
notes
make
for
their
that as
lives
well.
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have notes for that.
Mhm.
But the next one I have is Guts' nightmares are constant, which you did cover a little bit already.
Mhm. Where
I,
the night he spent his first night with the Band of the Hawk, he's already having a night terror.
and I always love this is going to be something that is also alluded to later. But I really love how those nightmares are portrayed because they are so weird and kind of surreal, but there's always that theme of horror, which
Mhm.
is such a cool way to portray a nightmare. It's telling of
Oh yeah.
what is Guts feeling deep inside of him.
Mhm. And I like that even in his nightmare, like when Casca's warming his body or whatever, and he feels it, rather than being comforted, it freaks him the fuck out. He's like, don't touch me, don't touch me. Oh god, it's that night all over again.
I did write here. Casca sleeps with Guts.
I mean, it won't be the first time she sleeps with him, but in
but
this,
don't.
like, yeah. In this way, is like, no, it's strictly platonic. He was about to like die from blood
It's not
loss,
even
and he
platonic.
needed her.
It's more like Casca was forced to do it and doesn't want to.
Yeah, more or less.
But I didn't really feel that "don't touch me" energy. It's kind of like Guts feels like he knows he should be reacting with "don't touch me," but he doesn't understand why he's not feeling that way. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's just because he couldn't move. I think he lost so much blood that he just literally couldn't push her off of him.
But there was no negative jerk reaction. I didn't feel like that don't touch me constant. He was kind of like, oh, this is weird. And that's that, there was no middle part in that segment.
I think he was freaking out because you see it in the speech bubbles where he literally is saying, "Don't touch me," and the speech bubbles are written in a way where it's like him yelling it, but he can't talk, so it's like his mind screaming it.
Is that so?
Mhm. And that's kind of how I took it. It was like, oh, he's like freaking the fuck out, but he just can't move.
Okay. I might have to reread that part, but I
Which is
completely
funny
forgot.
because in the morning, I love like his first interaction with Casca after this, as she just hits him right where he gets stabbed. I'm like, Jesus, bitch.
She's like a preteen girl, whatever. I get it.
I mean, her and Guts will always have a rivalry. Like this won't be the last time she hits him, and he's just like, "What the fuck, bitch? What did I do?"
Yeah.
It's kind of an ongoing thing between the two, or she just randomly hits him for whatever reason, and he's just like, "Huh?"
I think I have a feeling why, but I have that note written down later.
Mhm. No, there's definitely reasonings why, and you'll find, and this is why that Casca arc is so important because you'll find out why in the Casca arc. But we'll save that for the next podcast.
Yeah.
It's just leading up to there. There's a bunch of moments where she's just like, "Fuck you, I hate you," and just punches him, and Guts is like, "The fuck did I do?"
Yeah.
You're
It's
like,
it's it's a
"Oh,
it's an
what?"
amazing relationship.
Yeah, it's very amusing.
But besides that, yeah, Guts wakes up and eventually gets challenged by Griffith because Guts doesn't really want to stick around with the Band of the Hawk. And
He wants to leave, and Griffith challenge or basically makes a deal with him where if you fight me and you win, you could go free, but if you lose, you're part of my tribe. You're part of
yeah,
my group now.
and the way Griffith put it was, "I want you." And what completely caught me off guard was Guts saying, "Are you a homo?" And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
you
that's such a
gay?
middle schooler mentality to have.
Mm-hmm.
It cracked me the fuck up when I saw that. I just was
It
not
does.
expecting it.
He's like, "What are you, gay?" Which, oh, and this is all going back to Ricket. This is also the moment when Guts is walking through the group or through the camp. This is when you see Ricket working on that crossbow, or the
Oh, okay.
very early phases of that crossbow.
I see. I see. And someone else you see in the background constantly is Casca fangirling over Griffith all the fucking
Yeah,
time.
you always see Casca. You also see Corcus being Corcus and doing dumb shit.
But man, dude, like this is Casca at the most. I don't know. She definitely feels like the Griffith side chick, if you know what I mean. She
Oh
definitely
yeah,
gives off that energy.
she does not love Griffith. She is she worships Griffith. And this again, this I wish we could cover the Casca arc because this explains so much of her mentality.
But
Um,
it's just really interesting how it's being portrayed within the shots, where
mhm,
this is kind of where she starts from, and even in the next chapter, you see how that kind of starts evolving. But at this
yeah.
point, it does feel like childhood crush sort of
Mhm.
energy. And I and I
She
and I say this in a nice way, where I think her portrayal is good in this regard.
mhm. Yeah, she very much is enamored by Griffith. Like I said, it's not even just love, it's like almost obsession. She worships him. If Griffith told her to go jump off a cliff, she will do it.
Yeah.
Like it's that level of obsession with Griffith,
It's
which
just
is
kind
part of
of
the reason
covered with
why,
the fangirly stuff you see in other anime, which I think
yeah,
again I find very amusing and very well done.
like Casca is almost like borderline yandere to the point with this, where she's like, "Yes, master, I'll do whatever you tell me to do."
Yandere is a crazy pull.
I mean, I know you're a fan of the yandere genre, that or character type, but like Casca does kind of show a little bit, or at least a very minor version of that level of obsession. She's not to the point where like, "Oh, Griffith, if you touch anyone, I'll kill you." It's more of like, "I will kill anyone and everyone if you tell me to do it. I just want to be with you."
Yeah.
But then there's like that subtle heartbreak to it, where it's like, well, if Griffith wants to be king, he's gonna have to marry a princess, which means he's never gonna be with Casca. And I think on like a subconscious level, Casca knows that,
Yeah.
which is just heartbreaking because she still can't pull herself away from Griffith. She still loves him. She still obsesses over him. She just, but she knows she can never have him.
Yeah. So before we get into the princess, I do want to comment on one thing,
Mm.
and you know, Guts eventually. Do you want to comment anything on like Griffith beating Guts? It's pretty straightforward. Guts Griffith wins, and he becomes part of the Band of the Hawks.
Yes,
But
Griffith wins, but this is also the first time Griffith ever gets hit. And they make mention of like, wait a minute, Guts landed a blow on Griffith. Granted, it was just fist fight at this point. It wasn't a swordsman blow. But this is the first time when anyone in Band of the Hawk were like, oh fuck. Like Guts is actually on par with Griffith at times.
yeah, and I guess
And I think
since we followed Guts, we kind of already knew. But it's, I guess, to us, the audience, it's, oh fuck, someone's on par with Guts.
yeah, it was like, oh shit. Griffith is that good. And I
Yeah, so
also like it
it's a
shows
pretty good
like Guts.
double thing, double reaction.
I was gonna say it also shows like both are very like they both fight with their brains as well. Like it's not just a simple like Guts goes into a blood rage and starts killing anyone and everyone. No, Guts does think while he fights because he uses that moment of pause like Griffith does to Aura Farm to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna grab your sword with my teeth, make it where you can't use your sword, drop you to the ground, and just wail on you."
Yeah, if you want to put it in a different way, it's Griffith thinks of all his options and narrows it down to one, while Guts is constantly thinking about what is his first good option.
Yep. Guts is very much a think on his feet, move fast,
Yeah,
take it as it goes. Adapts like adapt or what is it? Adapt and overcome, whatever the Marine saying is. Like Guts is very much a Marine, like very
yeah.
much like a U.S. Marine, where he's like, adapt and overcome to every
Kai,
situation.
Kai, he's also a man of the battlefield. Of
I
course, the
mean, yeah, of
parallels are
course it
there.
makes sense, but I mean, for guys who are into the military whole stuff, they'll understand where Marines are kind of known as like crayon eaters and dumb, but fuck, can they come up with wild things on the battlefield?
Oh, I see
Like
the
they're
parallel you're
very good
drawing.
at thinking on their feet.
I see the parallel you're drawing now. That's a good
Hmm.
analogy then. But yeah, anything else? Because I want to talk about the next chapter, and there's a little bit of a side bulletin that I want to add. And throughout the chapter we saw before, this is where I commented before that Miura's art looks a little weird in the first deluxe volume.
Hmm.
By the time you get to volume 3 and the beginning of volume 4, you definitely see the improvement and it looks good. But man, when you start getting into the later chapters, this is when I feel the incredible art of Miura starts blossoming. Because some of
Oh yeah,
those images on, like, those battlefield images with so much going on.
the armor. The
Oh,
my
dude.
favorite was the bird eyes view of the castle that they're staying at in the enemy's camp, and it's like a whole map, so you get an idea of what it looks like. And you're like, God damn, that looks cool.
It's insane, and they look even better in the deluxe volume because of how big all the pages and books are.
Hmm.
And man, I like it's a small side point. You have to see it to experience it. But this is when I feel myself. The art is starting to enamor me.
Hmm.
But
Oh, no,
yes,
for sure. This is like, and especially when they do the first time skip, that's when the art just fucking jumps. There's a
hmm
massive. We're like, holy shit, what the fuck happened?
and I'm sure the art is getting better because Miura is challenging himself with these amazing art pieces he's now doing.
Oh yeah. And if you know Mara's work style, you'll like going back during the early phases of Berserk when he was working on this, because he was a night owl. Essentially, what he would do is that he'll wake up at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, work for like 5 hours, take an hour break to eat dinner or breakfast or lunch at that point, I guess, and then from that point on, work until he passed out, and then wake up at 3 p.m. and do it all over again.
What a fucking crazy man!
Yeah. Like he was very open about the fact that there was days where he only got like 2 hours of sleep.
Wow,
Yeah.
and it shows in some of these books,
It
man.
for
And
sure. It definitely shows.
it's his own blood ritual.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't have much to say about the very first battle you see within the Band of the Hawks. I have more to say about the night or the victory party. Do you have anything
Hmm.
to say about the
For
battle?
sure. The battle I think is pretty cool because it shows that first off, this is the first time Griffith that actually shown care about another member of the Band of the Hawk. Like he cares, but it was never to the extent of, oh man, we left a guy behind. You know, well, it kind of sucks. We just gotta leave. He was like, no, we gotta go back. We gotta go save him. Because Guts being the rear
Hmm,
guard, he does stay behind to hold off the enemy for as long as he can. And he even saves Ricket at that point because Ricket almost gets killed.
that's true.
Which I love that little moment, especially when you know like what happens between Guts and Ricket later on in the future. We're like, oh, those two become like really good friends.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really good point, and that kind of leads up to my other point in the victory scene or the victory party where Guts is going off all alone, and the rest of the band of the Hogs drag him down with them,
Yep.
and you
Where Judo, Ricket, and Pippin go up like, no, you're drinking with us. Come here, buddy. And Pippin literally picks him up over the shoulder and carries him down. And then like the rest of the band are like, wow, dude, you're super cool. And you have Ricket also being like a fanboy over Guts, being like, wow, thank you for saving me. You're really strong. You
yeah,
just have like this really like cute moment with Guts because this is the first time where Guts has really been like appreciated
I
other
wrote
than like maybe little moments here and there. But this is the first time we're like, no, dude, this tonight's in your celebration. Here's all the drinks for you. You could do whatever you want. And he's like, okay, what
I
the
have the
fuck?
exact bulletin point written here where this is Guts having friends, no strings attached.
Yep, this is Guts making friends.
And again, it's not like
And
the
it's
other
weird
other
for him.
band of the Hawk. I'm sorry, not the other mercenary members. This is real and genuine. They actually do care about him, not just what he brings to the table.
Yep, they legitimately care for him. Like the Band of the Hawks becomes his new family.
Which in other anime wouldn't be a big deal, but this contrasts so heavily with what we saw from the beginning of the Golden Age arc.
Oh yeah, from how he was raised to and going to the Black Swordsman arc because you know something happens. You know something's gonna happen where he reverts back to that like just individualistic, not individualistic, Darwinistic, just leave me alone, you know, fuck everyone else type mentality. So you wanna know like what happened. Here he is, finally found his family, finally found a place where he belongs. What happened that tore that all away from him and made him even more blood crazed?
Yeah. But in this moment, I think it was a great thing to establish that Guts does care about the Band of the Hawk. Or at this point, you'll kind of see that as a starting point. You can start drawing that line from there.
hmm And you see it. So I don't know if you picked it up or picked up on it yet, but Mira there's a ongoing thing with Guts and Mira where every time a big event happens to Guts in his life or he has like a mentality shift, it's always him staring up at the night sky.
Hmm. There hasn't been too
So
many moments of that, so I haven't quite seen that pattern yet. But it makes
as
a
of
lot
right
of
now,
sense.
there's been two. So there's him leaving Gambino's group,
Yeah.
almost dying, and it's him staring up at the stars or being like, fuck, I got to go out this world by myself. And now it's him sitting up on the wall, staring up at the stars, being like, shit, I do have friends. I don't have to go out this by myself.
Yeah. I'll
But
keep
keep
that
an
in
eye
mind.
on that
Oh,
because that,
voice crack.
yeah,
I'll
keep
keep
that
that in
in
mind.
mind because as the series goes on, Mira does this a lot. Anytime Guts is staring up at the sky, that's usually a sign of some type of big shift going on with his character, or he starts contemplating things.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Noted.
it's a really interesting way of doing it. Little like niche gimmick that he's got with Guts.
Speaking of shift of emotions, there's the next morning where everyone's waking up and Griffith
Mhm.
is bathing, essentially.
Yep.
And they were playing around, toying around. It's kind of a comedic scene all around
Yep.
on how they banter. And there's the moment where Griffith shows off the necklace to Guts for the first time. And
Mhm.
I don't know if Mura is trying to tell us with his art, but is this Griffith being the most genuinely happy he's ever been shown?
I think so, honestly. Because after this, you don't really see Griffith smile too often. This is like the first time when you genuinely be like, this is Griffith being as happy as he can be.
There's kind of
Like
like a
this is
glow to his eyes as well.
Mhm. And Griffith is a little weird because he has this weird thing where he goes from being like this cool, fun, playful, childlike character to being a cold-blooded killing machine like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where like it's all in his eyes too, which is what I think is really cool. Where, 1 second he's this childlike friendly dude, the next second he's about to rip your throat out. And
Yeah.
even Judo makes mention or makes a point about this because right before Guts goes talks to Griffith, he's talking to Judo up on the wall, and he asks Judo like, "Hey, what type of guy is Griffith?" And he's like, "I don't know." Like one moment he's a playful, fun dude. Next moment you think he's gonna kill someone. Like I don't know what type of guy Griffith is.
Yeah. And I have another note later on about his design element that I think comes out better in the later scenes. And I will comment on that. But you make a very good point. He does have those elements kind of already in place here.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But yeah,
And
I think at this point you can definitely tell this is the most happiest you've seen
Mhm.
Griffith at
this
this point in
is
time.
this is also you'll come to realize as the series goes on that Griffith very much wears his ego or wears like a mask when he's around everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
When he's around people, he is Griffith, the leader of the Band of the Hawk, the greatest mercenary group that ever crossed the lands. They're proud, brave, cunning soldier. He's this really cool guy. Guts is the only person whenever he takes that mask off. Like he's the only person where he ever allows him to see him for who he is,
Mm. That's kind of what
which is
I was suspecting.
yeah. And this is it's never outright mentioned why that is, other than just like Griff is basically in love with Guts, which is why like I want you. You're now mine.
There's a possibility there.
So,
It's definitely
but
very
this is
explicit if that's the case.
oh yeah. No, it is a love triangle by far. It hasn't formed just yet because like we know Casca likes Griffith, Griffith likes Guts, and Guts hasn't quite developed a crush on Casca yet. That's not until much later.
Yeah.
At this point, he still views her as a bitch.
Yeah. Um so I have my next bulletin point here, and this is when the next time skip happens. And this is one where we stay on for a while since this is going to be the last one finally that we kind of just stick on for just at least a couple volumes.
Hmm.
I like to call this Berserk Shippuden, where everyone just turns into a shonen protagonist.
Yeah. Now suddenly everyone's like in their or everyone's an adult now because I think at this point they're
17
all
to
18 or
19,
older. Yeah, 18 or older.
somewhere around that range.
Hmm.
But
18, 19, 20, somewhere around there.
yeah. So yeah, everyone has a little time skip jump, and this is kind of where you're gonna start seeing the characters kind of look about the
Mhm.
same age here from here on out.
Pretty much.
And
And this is also where like Mira's art is just like doubles in quality because now for whatever reason, like not saying that his art was ever bad, but like when you compare it to like when he first joined the Golden or first joined the Band of the Hawk to now, you're like, holy shit, what happened to Guts? He looks so much better now that he's like 18 years old and has muscle on him.
he even looks better than what he did in the Black Swordsman arc, just because it's
Oh yeah.
Mira's evolution of his art.
Hmm.
And you see, and I've already seen screenshots of what he looks like when he's much older, and man, those look really fucking good.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's gonna
for
be till
sure.
later, if there is a later. Who knows?
But at this point, he's just like, ah, attractive young dude who's really good on the battlefield.
Yeah,
You also, at this point, is also kind of cool because now he's leading the Hawk Raiders,
yeah, he's a captain now.
and yeah, he's a captain. He's leading the Raiders, and you see that a little bit of how he leads. You see that his men legitimately love being underneath Guts, that they all care about him, and that you get moments where he would never put his men in harm's way that he himself wouldn't be in. Like he's
Yeah,
always the first one on the battlefield, last one off. Like Guts is a legitimately good leader.
yeah. I was about to say like he's not only on the front line, but he's the first one on the front.
Yep. Like it literally opens up on like that chapter with him being the first one to the front, where he's like, "Nope, I'm here before all my men. I'm gonna cut away so my men can get in."
Yeah. And this actually leads up to my other bulletin point here. And this is kind of where I can comment more on what you said earlier, because you see it a lot more. And that's Casca hates but respects Guts. And I
Yep.
really love that dynamic because it's pretty easy. You've seen people genuinely hate Guts. Like,
Yeah.
and those moments can get ugly. But
Mhm.
even though Casca just doesn't like Guts's attitude towards certain things, like they disagree on a lot of things. But you can
Yeah.
clearly tell that unlike Gambino, who maybe had a more, you know, the barest of maybe care of Guts, if maybe not any, Casca
Mhm.
actually does care about Guts.
Yeah, she respects him. She's like, "Yeah, you're a good soldier. You're a good hero. Gut or Griffith really likes you, but you're fucking mad dog. You go in sword swinging without thinking, you're going to get yourself killed, or worse, you're going to get Griffith killed."
She nags because she cares, damn it.
Yeah, and you also get to see her nickname, which I fucking love. Did you pick up on that one?
I forgot. I think they only said it once.
Uh, she becomes much more okay with it later on, but Casca's nickname is Big Sis.
That's what it was.
All the other
Yeah.
soldiers call her Big Sis, and they're all super protective of her, which is really fun, really charming. Where they're like, "You don't touch our Big Sis, fuck you."
That's really cute.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was gonna comment like I really love the dynamic between Casca and Guts at this point. Because even
Oh yeah.
and Guts does in a similar way respects Casca, but he doesn't really care about her advice.
Hmm.
Where like
Yeah, he's
honestly, if
just
anything,
like,
Guts cares more about just not what is it? Not getting in like berated by her.
yeah, it's not necessarily like I don't really care about taking your advice. I just don't want to be yelled at every time I come home. Like
That's
I don't really
basically
give a
it.
shit. But I'm still gonna do what I always do, which is go in head first, swinging my sword.
Yeah. It's a great dynamic, as I mentioned.
Hmm.
I already mentioned how Corcus is Judas coded. I'll find more
Yep.
about that later.
Don't
Uh,
worry. You don't need to worry about Corcus. He doesn't betray anyone.
okay. So after
But
this,
I do like this where you never really see him in like actually I don't think he ever appears in any of the adaptations, but Gascon, Guts' right hand man in uh the Hawk Raiders, who looks a lot like not Griff, looks a lot like Orcus.
okay,
Uh for whatever reason, he's not in any of the other uh adaptations, but I like him. I
hmm.
quite like him. He doesn't show up very much, and it's really just him shows up being like, "Wow, Guts, you're really cool," and then that's kind of it. But like, it's just again, it's that thing where it shows that a lot of the men underneath Guts' command legitimately love Guts and want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, you're already seeing it here with just Casca alone and Griffith. Really, from orders up to orders down, everyone cares about Guts at this point in the Band of the Hawk.
Oh yeah, everyone legitimately sees him as a friend.
Yeah, and this is what kind of makes the next scene crazy, which is the battle against Nosferatu. He has like a full title, but I'm going to call him Nosferatu.
Mm.
Um,
Before that, though, I do want to pick on one more thing, which I think is really funny, or
what's up?
kind of also imply or uh, goes at Guts' character, which is the knighting ceremony, where Griffiths is now getting knighted, and everyone's there, and they're all dressed up, and they're all in their best armor and pretty looking, and Guts is nowhere to be found. He's off training. And that's just something that you'll see as a running thing with Guts, where he's just like, yeah, I don't really give a shit about this stuff. I'd rather be on the field fighting. And that's kind of his character at this point. Where
Yeah,
even though he is, growing this family and he legitimately cares about his men around him, he is only good at fighting. And that's all he knows. And he knows that. Like, deep down, Guts knows, like, without a war, I'm useless. I have to have a war going on.
I think it adds more where like he finds the piece to be kind of weird.
Hmm.
So it's more of an attitude thing as well.
Exactly. Like he's not used to like ceremonies and the political side of things in peacetime. He's like, nah, I'm used to war. which does, I know this is little spoilers, but this does add or build up later on into the future, where eventually he does end up make the decision to leave the Band of the Hawk because he's like, well, we're not really fighting anymore, and that's the only thing I'm ever good at.
Spoilers.
Sorry. I mean, you know what happens at the eclipse, so.
I know, but we'll get to that part when we get there.
Mhm.
I mean, really, with that ceremony, I feel that was more showing of what Casca and Griffith were like, which is they're more willing to go into the royalty scene while everyone else is kind of just cheering like a village bumpkin.
Mhm. Which is literally what they call him, is like, wow, these fucking village bumpkins.
That was more telling of that. On to the next scene, which is when they do fight Nosferatu.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously the scene
And
is
I
set up where men are already dying, and Griffith is
and
really
Guts is
the only
already
one that might have
freaking
a chance.
out, being like, I need to get in there and save my men. And that's
Yeah.
when you have Guts going, like, no, we can't risk you going in there and dying, Captain. Like, you're important. He's like, I don't care. Those are my men getting killed. I need to be there with them. I need to make sure they're okay.
Once again, highlighting Guts' character.
Yep.
And the fight goes on, and it's kind of pretty similar to how most fights go, which is Guts is always willing to fight till the very last bone. But in here,
Mhm.
contrasting to the Black Swordsman arc, you definitely feel there's more of a fear in him.
Oh, yeah. He is terrified of Zod. This is the first time he's ever faced anyone like him. Like, at this point, they thought apostles were just, make believe, whatever. It's like, they're fucking demons. Who cares? Like, they're made up. And now suddenly he's like, holy shit, monsters are real. Oh god, how do I kill this thing?
Yeah. And
And so, like, it's definitely is him being much more fearful. I mean, he's still fighting because that's all he knows. He's like, well, I'm going to keep going, but I'm probably going to die here. But I'm going to keep fighting until I die.
it is an
And what's cool
interesting.
is, like, you see Zod being like, oh shit, this is the first humans that ever actually last this long against me. This is kind of fun. I'm used to guys dying in like one or two hits. Guts could actually take a hit and deliver them back.
Yeah. So something I really want to zoom in with this Zod fight is this is kind of the very first time I've seen a battle of wrath being portrayed in such an interesting way, because it's kind
Mhm.
of wrath versus the feeling of helplessness.
Mhm.
And this is kind of the first time where you see Guts and even Griffith legitimately feel helpless at their situation.
Yeah, they're
So much so
legitimately
where this gets
scared of
even
what's
reflected
going
in the
on.
nightmares later on, and it's kind of horrifying to see something just so mundane as just like a demon, right? Something you see a lot in D&D, and it's such a trope right now. But to kind of have
Mhm.
have to face it head on and realize that
Yep.
it it,
Especially
it
back
just
then,
kills
because
you.
they're in the world as of right now in Berserk, it's like our real world. Whereas, like, are there stories of demons and monsters in our real world? Yeah. Do they exist? Probably not. It's a lot of it's just folklore and made up stories. No one really believes it. But there's a demon standing right in front of me. Uh, fuck. What do I do? I thought these things were folklore. I thought they were made up stories. Oh god. Like, what
Yeah.
do I do?
And even though Griffith and Guts do a team up, the only thing that really saves them is it's Guts' not
Is
Guts,
the
Griffith's
necklace.
necklace. Yeah.
Yeah. Where Zod recognizes it and he's like, "Oh shit, you're the king." Oh fuck.
And then he
Even
fucks
he's
off.
like, yeah, but he does give Griffith or not Griffith, he does give Guts a warning where he's like, "Hey, dude, that amulet is going to lead to a horrible event that's going to get everybody here killed. You should probably leave before that happens." Like, he legitimately gives Guts like advice about that. Where like, "Hey," or a warning where he's like, "Hey, man, you should leave."
Just as
Also,
it
this
was
is
about to kill him.
Yep, just before he was about to kill him. And I think it's because he wants to be the one to kill Guts, because this is the first time he's ever had someone to actually land a blow on him. And not only land a blow on him, but also cut his arm off.
Yeah, fair.
Where Zod, for the last however many hundred years, had not, he's never lost a fight. Now suddenly here's this dude that could actually beat him. And he's like, oh shit, this is cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to
Yeah.
kind of highlight how strong he is.
And it does kind of what you'll kind of recognize is that Guts and Zod's relationship is almost kind of like Alucard's and Anderson's relationship from Hellsing, where here's Alucard, unkillable monster dude, vampire, and more like the strongest of the strong. Suddenly, there's a priest here that could actually land a hit on him and could actually kill him, and he gets really excited about it. Where he's like, "Oh shit, a human that could finally kill me! Oh, this is gonna be awesome!"
That character trope is really fun. But
hmm
yeah,
And you see it with Zod, where Zod's like, "Holy shit, a human could actually land a hit on me! I like this dude."
it's great. The next bulletin point I have here is Count Julius the Jobber. Because when I saw this guy, I was like, damn, this guy's gonna get schmucked in one way or another. I don't know how, but this guy is just a stepping stone for Griffith.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a in the introduction scene, he's kind of portrayed as like pathetic. And so, like he's really petty, he's pathetic. He's like he kind of only he looks a little bit like a snob, like a nobleman.
hmm Which he is.
And
And
even
he is
in the scene
the
he's introduced, like he's losing already favor
yeah, he's
for
the
the
brother
king
of the
and
king.
also Princess Charlotte.
Yeah. So the thing with him is that he is the king's little brother. So technically he's next in line. Since Charlotte's a woman and can't take the throne, he's the next one in line. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be king. And now seeing Griffith, who was a fucking nobody, get knighted and is now in favor of the king to the point where there's rumors that the king might make him a general. Julius is like, oh fuck. What happens if he marries Charlotte? I'm no longer in line. I don't like this.
Yeah. So he
And
has
you
a
see that, and
reason.
it's not just him. A lot of the other nobles share that same
The prime
sentiment.
minister shares that as well.
Yeah, well, a ton of them do. Where they're just like, "What is this country bumpkin out here pretending to be a knight? We're noblemen. He shouldn't be amongst us, and yet here he is."
Yeah, he's rattling everything way too much for their liking.
hmm And they do not like Griffith.
Yeah. Uh but
And you do
that's
see
all I'm gonna
that
say on
because
Count Julius for now, because there's more for him later. Unless you want to say
I mean,
anything else.
I was gonna say we're gonna get to that like today.
Yeah.
Everything with Count Julius because he doesn't stick around for very long.
Yeah. So there is one
But I
actually
do,
there's
although
yeah.
I was gonna mention I do love the look of Griffith's face when Julius slaps him.
Yeah, he was kind of like giving like mocking him, saying like I
Yeah,
got you, bitch.
it's that mocking, like, oh, pardon my rudeness, as he just smiles and stares into his soul. They're like, oh, you know that like no matter what Julius does to Griffith, it's not gonna harm him. Griffith
Yeah.
does not give a fuck. He is beneath Griffith. And that drives Julius fucking insane. Where
Yeah.
he does not like the fact that this commoner is looking down upon him.
Which I'm sure pushes him to the reason why he wanted him. He was the one that took the step to assassinate him.
Yeah,
With, you know,
like he's
someone
the
like the
one.
prime minister egging him, being like, "Yeah, you know, you should do it."
Yeah, oh, you should do it. I play this political game and I try to pin all the nobles against one another.
But yeah, actually that's the uh we can talk about Count Julius after this bulletin point because I only have one to say in
hmm
between, and you know, they go out and uh to a hunting. Yeah, that's right. They were hunting like some kind of fox or whatever.
And right before this, I want to point out this is now the third instance of Guts staring up into the stars, and you see it shift in his character.
Oh, I didn't notice that one.
Yep, this where he's laying on the roof and he's staring up at the stars because now at this point, like we mentioned, Costco is always like, "Oh, you're just a mad dog. All you ever care about is moving in and swinging your sword. You don't realize you're gonna get someone killed." It's like, "Oh, whatever, bitch." And then he almost does get Griffith killed, and he gets a couple of his, or quite a few of his men killed with Zod. And now here he is sitting up on top of the roof, staring up at the stars, being like, "Shit, Costco was right. I am more of a mad dog. I need to actually start being like, or thinking about what I do before I move in, before I put other people at harm's risk or in harm's way.
Damn, I need to keep my eyes out for those night scenes. But
Hmm.
moving on to the hunting scene, and this is something you commented on before. Oh my god, I'm losing my words. But this is Griffith kind of starting to really talk with Princess Charlotte,
Yep.
and I want to add, I fucking love the face that Casca had when she noticed that, because
Oh yeah,
it was
where she does not like it.
the root of that emotion is jealousy, but there's a little bit of like this bitch energy, this fucking noble ass bitch getting my Griffith. God fucking damn it.
Hmm. Fuck her.
It
I
was like the
also love.
pettiest face I've seen Casca.
Mhm. I also love this scene with between guts aren't guts between Griffith and the princess is because it's exactly what Judo says. Where one moment he's all playful and whatnot, and the next moment he's serious. And here's a moment where you see him being playful and teaching Princess Charlotte how to use a whistle or turn a leaf into a whistle.
Yeah.
And
And
it's just this like really cute moment with her and him being like just kind of playful with one another.
bro, like there's another scene where Griffith had like a moe face when he was showing not Griffith, when he was showing Guts porn. He was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, look at this book, Guts.
Yeah, look at
Will he just
this. It's
keep
the
you
Kama
around?"
Sutra. Check it out.
And it looks like
And
something
you
that
see
fucking
this
Puck would
so
do.
often with you see this moments with Griffith so often, and I love those little moments because I know this is a little bit later, but there's a moment that I love with him where he's talking to the other generals, and he just has his like childlike wonder on his face, while all the other generals are like, "What the fuck is going on?" It's just a really funny look on his face.
We'll talk about that scene then when we get there. But
Yep.
uh, yeah, I don't have anything to say about him getting shot and getting lucky. That's kind of straightforward to me.
Yeah, where just the arrow hit his bailment.
Yeah,
Which again, the
it's alluding to the
bailment
same
is
thing.
yeah, it's looting like he is destined to be king, so things are going to line up for him in ways that people want to think about. So it gives off that Griffith is just really fucking lucky all the time, when in actuality, it's the world itself is literally protecting him.
Yeah. So I guess we can jump straight into the thick of it now. And the bulletin point here I wrote was very short because there's going to be more talking. And that's Guts assassinates Count Julius.
Hmm.
So Griffith was really, the talk before was pretty straightforward with Griffith. And it's kind of crazy because Griffith was pretty on board when he heard this idea.
You mean guts?
Sorry, I said Griffith twice. Sorry, he's on my mind
Yeah,
so much.
no, it's G's and G's, and we've been talking for a while now,
Yeah,
so it's no
Griffith
worries.
talks to Guts, and Guts is immediately on board with the plan.
Yeah.
And,
Because the guts, he's just killing. He's like, ah, it's fucking whatever. Like
mhm.
killing's killing. And he literally just tells Griffith, like, just give me the order. I'll have to do it. Whether or not I want to do it or not, if you give me the order, I'll do it.
And this is, I think, another layer that this is when I start to notice it, where Griffith not only wants Guts because he's maybe a friend or an equal or whatever, but because he's also a kind of a, I don't want to say tool, but he's proof of how strong he is
Yeah.
because he has someone like Guts that he can kind of, I don't want to use the word manipulate at this point, but that he can kind of collaborate with.
He has a wild dog that only ever listens to him.
Yeah.
It's like, here's Guts, this big, huge, strong, fucking badass dude who could literally kill everyone in that kingdom if he wanted to. He's that strong. But yet he only listens to Griffith. And so it's definitely a power trip that Griffith probably feels with him, where it's just like, oh yeah, look how powerful I am. I have this mad dog on a leash that only listens to me.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent to me of those kings in history that would have like a really dangerous animal as a pet, where it's like a
That's a good point.
lion or a tiger or a bear, and that animal only ever listens to the king, and the king all he has to do is like snap his fingers, and that animal will rip someone in half.
Yeah. It's a
So
pretty
like
good feeling, I'd
that.
imagine, that Griffith has.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like a power feeling. Like it's which to me kind of it does make you wonder how much of does Griffith legitimately care for Guts then? Because he does care about Guts for
Yes.
sure. But is it only to the extent that he feels dominance over Guts? Because we, at this point, we do know that Griffith has some form of like a dominance like fetish type thing, where he wants to feel like he's in command at all times, that he's in power at all times,
Yeah.
to the point where he's quite literally willing to send an assassin to go kill the king's brother just because he sees the king's brother in his way.
To
Where he's
be
like,
fair,
no,
he also tried to
I need to be
assassinate him.
dominant.
Honestly, that's a pretty good
Yeah,
reason. Counter assassin.
true.
It's fair.
It is a counter assassination, but even if Julius didn't send that counter assassination, I think Griffith still would have tried to do it.
I don't think Griffith wouldn't have done it. Not because it's not in his blood, but because he wouldn't even see him as a worthy like challenge. He's not even worth it in his eyes.
Actually, that is true because after that slap, like what I said, he just kind of looked down upon Julius, like, oh, whatever. I
Yeah.
don't even care.
Yeah. I don't think he would have even cared about Julius if it wasn't for that fact where like, oh, he has it out for me. All right.
Yeah, he's like, oh, all right. Well, I got to deal with this nuisance.
Yeah. But getting into the thick of that scene of seeing Count Julius, and this is kind of Count Julius's sob story of why he's currently the way he is. Maybe he was
Mm-hmm.
still a dickhead before this incident, but it the what do you call it? His not his waiter, his fucking servant
Yeah,
comments on how he was how the death of the wife of Count Julius has been troubling Count Julius deeply.
yeah, and like he's just kind of taken out, and it's not even just the death of his wife. They also mentioned like battlefield prestige hasn't been doing too well for him. He's been losing battles. People aren't really looking at him for as a good general anymore. They don't really see him as like, oh yeah,
And on top of it, all the
he's probably
Griffith stuff
a
is
good
happening.
king. Yeah, and meanwhile you have Griffith, who's the rising star. So everyone's turning from Julius, who's been leading the war for so long, to now to Griffith, being like, hey, maybe we should have him as a general. And Julius is like, wait a minute, what the fuck? I just lost my wife. I'm losing battles. Now everyone's looking at this fucking upstart. God damn it, what the fuck?
And that's when you start seeing where like he's kind of not even seeing himself as the next in line as king. He kind of sees that he lost his chance is over, but he's
Hmm.
pinning all his hopes and desires on his son,
Yeah, onto his son.
who's like
For sure.
11 years old, 12 maybe,
Hmm.
really young.
Yeah. And
And it's kind
and you
of
see that with his training because you do like Guts watches the training and he does have a little bit of a flashback towards Gambino being like, God damn,
mhm.
I get how that kid feels.
Yeah, and what leads up is unfortunately one of the sloppiest assassinations ever.
Yep.
So, Griffith has no trouble killing Count Julius. Again, it was
You mean
unfortunate
Guts?
seeing that maybe Count Julius was probably a better man than Gambino.
Oh, for
The bar's
sure.
low. Let's be real,
Yeah.
but maybe there was something in him where like, did he deserve it? Question mark.
Hmm.
It's a little blurrier than Gambino,
Hmm.
but the scene afterwards with Julius's son is
Yeah.
damn, that was hard to read, man.
Oh yeah. And you do see it in Guts's face where he's like, fuck, I killed a kid. Like he's like, I did not mean to kill this kid.
It
That was not my
traumatized
target.
Guts
Oh
in that
yeah.
moment. Usually a lot of traumatizing moments, I feel he doesn't have time to process it. He and then
Hmm.
he runs away or he does whatever and then it starts traumatizing him over time. This is one of the first times where I seen him traumatized in that exact moment.
Exactly. Especially after he just watched the kid get beat by his dad. And he's like, fuck, I relate to this kid and I just killed him.
But he was a witness.
Yeah. But he was a witness. He had to kill him. But it is one of those things where you see it in Guts' character. And it like I alluded to this in the previous episode. And you see it with him in the Black Swordsman arc where he does care about kids. He doesn't want to harm kids. He doesn't want to put kids he doesn't want to put kids in necessary harm's danger. He'll use them if it gets to it for his advantage, but he's always going to try and get them out of there and protect them. And now here
Yeah,
he is
and this is the
killing a
start of it.
kid. Yeah, and so this is him being like, fuck, what did I do?
It's kind of the perfect starting point to what the end point that we see, which is Thracia towards in the beginning of the Black Swordsman arc.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where point A and point B are, and you can kind of the audience can draw that line and be like, oh, this is where it started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is where Guts' like care for kids kind of shows because like, oh, he killed a kid by at one point and he feels bad for it. And he relates to kids. He relates to like the downtrodden in general.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because
It's
he seemed like a good kid, and he was just wrong place, wrong time.
Yep. As the butler said, all he ever wanted to do was make his father smile.
Yeah,
That's all the kid wanted to do. And not once did he ever see his father smile. Like, oh, that's heartbreaking. Because again, that was kind of Guts' thing. He just wanted to make Gambino proud.
yeah, yeah. That scene was brutal. And immediately after, when he sleeps in the sewers, you see that immediately already becomes part of the nightmare.
Yep. Immediately, he's already thinking of Gambino. He's thinking of Zod. He's thinking how powerless he is. And he's like, fuck. And then he realized, like, he himself is now Zod, that he's turning into a monster.
Yeah, that's such a good nightmare sequence, man.
Mm-hmm.
But um, after that scene, there's not really much. It's a gut slogging back all the way to Guts. Cosca mentions like you smell like shit. All Guts want to do is just confirm with Griffith that he did the job
Yeah, that the job's done.
as
And then he
Griffith
just turns
is
around and walks away. And Costco's like, oh.
yeah, and this is Griffith is just trying to flirt up the Princess Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
and I
And you
want
get
to
an extremely important moment.
yeah, and I was about to say I want to pause the story here for a second and really delve into Griffith because he has a
Mm-hmm.
lot to say here.
He
So,
does. I would also like to add, before we get into Griffith's
uh-huh.
speech, this is the first time you see Casca show kindness towards Guts as well. Because I mean, she's shown kindness before, but this
Mhm.
is the first time where she's like, "Oh, he's hurt. He was up to something. That's why he missed practice. What's going on?" And then she follows him and is like, "Oh shit, he's actually wounded. Let me cut
Well,
a piece of my cloth,
Casca
cut
also
up my
doesn't
sleeve off."
want for him to interrupt Griffith in the middle of talking to Princess Charlotte dressed like that.
No, but she also treats his wound, which,
Yeah.
before, if this was younger Casca, she's like, fuck him. Like, whatever, let him bleed out. I don't care. But now she's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, he's actually hurt and has a valid reason to miss practice. Like, what's going on? What happened? Like, are you
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, so there's that scene with Casca where you start seeing that slow build up there.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
I
then you
guess we
have
talked
the
about
dream speech.
yeah, I guess we talked about this a little bit about Griffith's wrath through Guts. He does
Mm-hmm.
kind of he kind of sees Guts as just part of his will. How you mentioned how it's like animal on a leash. That's
Mm-hmm.
not Guts's power. That's his power, sort of
Yeah.
energy. But the other point that I have here, and you've already kind of asked this question, and it's something that I'm still wondering is: does Griffith care, or is it all an act?
Yeah. And you see that with this speech where like you don't know if he's just shooting air off Charlotte's ass trying to make himself seem cooler than what he really is, or if this is like how he legitimately feels, where he says, the only person I can see as a friend is someone who is as equal in ambition as I am.
Yeah,
Which
it's.
unfortunately Guts and Costco overhears this and are just like, oh, so we're not his friends.
I think there was a different. I think there was a different phrasing where it's kind of just an equal was all he was
Yeah,
asking, and I
he's
think
asking
Guts
for an
saw him
equal.
as a friend in that regard. Casca maybe not.
Mhm. No, Costco worships Griffith. Griffith could do no wrong.
In the sense where
Like
he
if
maybe
Costco
not seen as
lives
an equal, I
Like
suppose.
if Casca lives in our world, she will legitimately be one of those people that unironically says Griffith did nothing wrong.
She's a K-pop
Like
stan.
Yeah, like that's Casca's mentality at this point. I'm sure it'll change later on after the shit that he puts her through. But as of right now, Casca is very much a Griffith could do no wrong.
Yeah, and it's a weird situation right now with whether or not Griffith does care or not. I'm
Hmm.
still wondering because I don't know. It's we talked about it before about during the bathing fight where though that glimmer in his eyes looks like he actually cares. But
Yeah,
then
where
there's
he
other
does care about
moments
his
where he
friend.
feels genuine in the bad way, where he stares at someone and it's like, I want you fucking dead.
Yeah.
And those are
Like
his most
Griffith is
genuine
very
moments.
hard to read. Like he's hard to get a pin down on his character.
Yeah.
And I do think that is by design though.
Mm-hmm.
Because like even Griffith himself kind of struggles with his own character, with his own personality, where he, like I said before, he holds up his mask for so long of being this badass leader of the Hawks, this guy who has the ambition to be king, that he forgets about himself. He forgets about the things and the people around him. He gets so caught up on his own ambitions and what he's trying to perceive himself as, or what he wants others to perceive him as, that he forsakes everyone around him.
Yeah. And this he talks about it a little bit in his speech as well, where he speaks on the concept of dreams. And you mentioned a good quote about the equal part, but before that, the one that caught me was what he sees as a dream, especially his own, is a dream so big that it washes out other dreams. That's what it
Hmm.
means to be ambition. That's what it means to pursue something, is that in the wake of having a huge dream, others have to be swept away.
Hmm.
And
Exactly. Where
obviously that's it's alluding to the one thing that we all know, but it's Griffith kind of saying that if I'm gonna do the shit that I want to do, that's gonna crush everyone. That's gonna crush a lot of people underneath. That's
hmm.
not my problem.
Yep. He's like, it's unfortunate, but I have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah.
And you do kind of see this a little bit with Judo earlier on when Guts and Judo were talking and they were talking about Griffith. And Judo even mentions like a lot of the reason guys follow Griffith is because they think their dream could be succeeded underneath Griffith's dream. Or if Griffith becomes king, well, then I could be a general or I could be a captain. I could be a leader. I could actually make something of myself. But that only happens if Griffith becomes king. So I'm going to work really hard to make sure he becomes king.
Yeah. And it's funny you point that out because I've thought about it a little bit more about how Griffith obviously cares about Guts, but how does he feel about the Band of the Hawk? And I think the conclusion I'm coming to, this has yet to be remain seen, but it looks like he doesn't really care as much about the individuals in the Band of the Hawk. It's more so the Band of the Hawk as a whole kind of projects his power. The whole of it is his ownership.
Yes, that's absolutely how Griffith is in my eyes as well. Where individual members, he might like care a little bit about some of the individual members, like Casca, obviously, Guts, obviously. He's like, oh yeah, they're my captains. I do want to make sure my captains don't die. But as a whole, he's just like, well, they're dying to succeed my dream, so I need to make it to my dream. Which is another thing with Griffith is all these people have died under his command, so he could follow his dream. And he's kind of in that boat where it's like, well, I can't let their deaths go to waste. If I just give up on my dream now and not become king, all these hundreds of people that I sent to death, or they died for no reason. So I have to become king.
Yeah. And there's another you already commented a little bit before, but I also want to add a little bit as well about Griffith's design. And obviously he's based off the Bai Shonen Ikemen looking like pretty boy.
Oh yeah,
But
he's one of
he
the founding members of that.
yeah, and there's no one else currently in the manga that looks like him.
Hmm.
And I think he adds more than other characters of that archetype because he's kind of everything in one character. He's both a child and a grown man in the same face. He's a child and a killer. And even there's like the soft femininity with the strong masculine war energy. And
Mhm.
it's all in this one character. And you mentioned how he constantly flip flops, and it's what you said. I do believe it's intentional by Mira as well. This
For sure.
this character has so much on him that not only do others around him not understand what they're looking at, but I think there's even a glimpse of even Griffith himself doesn't understand what he feels.
For sure. Like I like, and we'll get to it because Griffith does have an identity crisis at one point, and it's a very important scene. But like you can see like Griffith's ambitions are crushing him, and at this point, he doesn't even realize it yet.
Mm-hmm. And
And
hmm? And
I was gonna say or mention like his design being so much different from everyone else does absolutely play into it because, like you said, like on one side he's just this angelic like creature, like he's different from when everyone else. He's gorgeous, he's perfect, he wins every battle, he's fantastic. But then on the other side, he's willing to send assassins after a guy and his kid. He's willing to do a lot of underground dealings to get what he wants. He's willing to get his hands dirty. He just doesn't want anyone to see him getting his hands dirty.
yeah, this is pretty much the most explicit use I've seen of the halo effect in a character,
Hmm.
where he has such that he everyone it's commented so many times up until this point where he has such a childlike personality, like he looks beautiful, he's everything, and that kind of already puts him on a pedestal, not just for the characters within the universe, but if you're a brand new reader, it's pretty easy to make Griffith look like a good person because of the context we're in. Hell, even
Hmm.
if you read the Black Swordsman arc, you could even say, well, sure, Griffith is in this evil organization, but he never directly hurt Guts.
Yeah, you don't
And
know
we
what
don't
he
really know
did.
exactly what he did. He could have
Mhm.
been justified in, being in the Legion of Evil or whatever. Maybe he had a good reason. So even for a new reader, you could still believe that Griffith is he's your friend, I guess, to
Yeah,
the
you're like he's a
audience.
good person. What did he do? Like all the way up till this point, Griffith has shown that he's been a pretty good guy. Little weird things here and there, but for the most part, he's pretty nice, which is absolutely fucking terrifying to me when you think
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Yes.
Because it's the idea of here's this really nice, really charming, really handsome guy that everyone just kind of likes and falls for. But behind the scenes, he's a cold blooded, ruthless killer. And he's absolutely willing to send thousands of people to their death if it just helps him in any way.
Yeah.
And that's where like the real horror and like terror for Griffith comes from, where it's so easy for him to get control of people and for people to follow him without a moment hesitation or without even thinking about it, regardless of what acts he has done.
It's pretty hard to feel within the characters of the manga. It's pretty hard for them to feel apathetic towards Griffith. You either love him or you hate him.
Hmm.
Because there's no character that I feel that is just passively like, oh yeah, that's just Griffith. You see the Band of
Yeah.
the Hawk, you see the King and Prince Charlotte immediately gravitate towards Griffith, and then you see the enemies he piles up quickly.
Yep. Very quickly. And both internal and external, because even the other noblemen, yeah, the noblemen all look down on him. They're like, oh, fuck this guy, whatever. But he starts hunting them down now. And they're like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, no.
With the first one being Captain Julius, and it's
Yeah.
such
General
a
Julius.
general. Sorry,
Much
um,
bigger deal than a captain.
yeah, sorry, he would probably kill me for saying that. But with the assassination, it's such a contrast to Guts's reaction, where Guts felt awful. He looked like the life got drained out of him,
Mhm.
and for Griffith, it's kind of he gives off a smug face of like, got you.
Yep. Oh, that look on his face when the news breaks, and it's just that sly smile crawling across his face, where he's like, "Ah, yes, got him. My prey has been hunted."
Damn,
And it's just
dude.
like, oh, that like that to me, like that's Griffith. That's Griffith's real character shining through. Where Griffith, the cool, confident, badass, proud, noble leader, is the mask. The real Griffith is the cold-blooded killing machine.
Yeah, and you even see a follow-up scene with the minister where he's trying to like be, he's trying to kind of figure out Griffith and be like, "Oh, yeah, this shit's going on, whatever."
Well,
And it looks like a
oh, yeah.
casual talk, and it looks like the prime minister felt confident and like, "All right, I got some info out of him. All right." But then
Yeah.
he looks at Griffith right before he leaves into the darkness, is also giving the stare of like,
You're
you're
my prey
fucking
now.
next."
Yep, you're next. You're my prey. And the minister knows it because he shits a fucking brick. He's like, oh no. He's like, oh fuck. I should not be dealing with this guy. He is absolutely going to destroy me.
Griffith knows how to aura farm, man.
For sure.
uh,
And then the next scene, you also get a moment with Casca and the princess where it's Casca being like, that bitch, that's my man she's talking to.
yeah,
But she also knows like there's nothing she could do about it. She knows like, well, Griffith wants to be king, and the only way to become king is to marry her. So I guess I gotta keep her alive.
yeah. But yeah.
Although
After
you do
that,
have kind of like a nice little innocence with Princess Charlotte being asking Costco like, "Hey, keep him alive for me, please."
yeah, and even though Casca is clearly like jealous or whatever negative emotion is towards Princess Charlotte, she clearly
Hmm.
does kind of respect her.
Oh
That's
yeah,
kind of Casca a lot, is that there's a lot of people where like she doesn't like on a personality, or she has a hang up with a
or
person, but
yeah,
at the end
or
of the day
other
she's
people
still
don't
nice
really
and it's
like
like,
her.
I respect you.
Yeah, and same with other people. There's a lot of other people in the story that are like, "Yeah, we don't really care for Casca, but we respect her."
Yeah,
And
that's being one
then,
of them.
yep, Guts being one of them. And then you meet the next fucking target,
That's
which is the queen.
yes.
Where the queen, even she's like, "Oh, he's a commoner. Don't fucking talk to him."
Yeah. That scene was pretty good as well.
So you could clearly tell that the queen does not share the same sentiment as her husband.
Yeah. But after that scene, that's kind of the next one is the Casca arc, which kind of just, as we said, we're gonna leave for later. That pretty
Hmm.
much concludes what we're gonna be covering today.
Yep.
And it's been a
So, you,
long talk. Oh my god.
oh yeah, it's an hour, almost 2 hours,
Yeah, we're getting up there.
hour 40.
So, is there any
Um,
final thoughts you want to give and what we, the timeline that we just covered, Kai? Is there anything maybe you forgot
uh,
to mention, or maybe you would just want to discuss?
there, I think we covered everything. I know this arc tends to go lightning fast. It's really good, but it's very fast.
I think that's good because I think I like the pacing of it because I feel like it helps flesh out Guts' character in a more realistic way.
Oh, for sure.
And the fact that we're kind
And
of
it fleshes
pausing
out
now
all
kind
the
of helps.
characters. Hmm.
Go on.
So, oh, I was gonna say, like, it helps flesh out all the characters that are to come. Like, this arc is an extremely important arc to the story of Berserk.
And especially the character of Guts, because this is basically
Yeah,
where you find out what his deal is.
absolutely. And I guarantee you a lot of people that are gonna watch this are screaming and pulling their hair out because, like, the Casca arc or this next Casca little area chapters are so fucking important. But even I am kind of on their side. Or like, fuck, I want to talk about it because it's a really good part. It's a
uh,
really good chapter.
I guess we'll get to it
Uh,
when we get there. So,
yeah,
yeah, if there's nothing else to
but
say, I guess we can close off the podcast for today.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. But I'm pretty certain we covered everything that I wanted to talk about.
As of right now, Griffith really is our good friend.
Yep,
Our
our
good
good friend
friend Griffith.
Griffith.
I love that line.
He's a
You know
little
about that guy,
quirky at
right?
times. Yeah, I've seen it. I saw that video. That poor old man. I'm waiting for it to happen to you though.
Unfortunately, I already know the context of it, but I like looking it through the lens of what if I didn't know.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Which I mean, you know the ending, you just don't know how we get to the ending.
Yeah. All
I
right.
will
That
say,
journey's gonna. Oh
actually,
boy.
I do want to bring it up because now that I think about it, uh Griffith being the whole, what is it, by shoujo or whatever the fuck,
Yeah,
pretty boy,
by Shonen.
by shonen. It does kind of remind me a lot of like Anakin Skywalker.
I see the parallels you're drawing.
Yeah, whereas like he was this war hero and everyone loved him and he was great. And then he had a fall from grace and fucking turn into a monster.
But right now, he's our good friend.
But right now he's our good friend.
All right. How about we close this one off? Uh, I can start
Sounds good to
reading
me.
the next volume.
Hell yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
such a good volume.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us in our discussion for the Berserk Deluxe Edition 2, which covered volume 4 through 6. I have been Hazar, and with me today was Kai the Crusader.
Bye, guys. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. There will be plenty more of this to come, as I really like Berserk, since I just spent the last hour and 40 minutes talking about it.
I'm starting to like it so much that I'm looking at Dark Souls 2 is like maybe I should boot that one up.
Do it.
Maybe
I
one
will I will co-op Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 with you. I will play all the games. I will play
day.
Elden
Uh
Ring with you. Like, come on.
oh.
We could
I shouldn't have said that.
re-
Oh no.
read Berserk, and then we could go and play Dark Souls
And
afterwards.
then play Fear and Hunger, and then just go
And then,
down the whole the Berserk like rabbit hole.
yep.
All right. Thank you
Which
everyone for joining
it
us.
is kind of sad that a lot of the Berserk likes are better Berserk games than the actual official Berserk games.
Yeah, they're kind of stinky.
Yeah, From Software, get on that.
But yeah. Thank you everyone
Please, From
for
Software, make a Berserk game.
yeah, let's just close it off. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And look forward to our our next video where we talk about Deluxe Edition 3. All right, everyone have a great night and rest well. Goodbye.
Night.